Everybody, welcome to U.S. History Semester 1, Quarter 1 study session. This is Mrs. Gonzalez. Today is August 31st, 2018. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today's agenda is basically an overview of the U.S. History course. We're going to take a look at just the quick overview of the units, assignments, what's expected, and then we're going to have a preview of some of the assignments for U.S. history. This webinar is going to help you get familiar with the class. Also, you can be able to predict what's coming up, what's expected, and it's just going to be able to make you feel a little bit more comfortable as you're working through this class. So, course summary. This class, you are learning about American history from the years 1776 to 1945. That covers from the American Revolution to World War II. Upon completion of this course, you will have earned, depending on which version you're taking, if you're taking semester 1, that means that you are going to earn half a credit. So you have completed 40 to 50 hours of coursework, you've turned in all the assignments, completed the final, and it's off of your dashboard. That means that you have earned a half credit. For those of you in the quarter version of this class, you'll earn a quarter, 0.25 credits for quarter 1, and that means that you will be completing 20 to 25 hours of coursework. In order to pass this course and receive credit, you have to pass with an overall grade of a D, which is 60% or higher. And you also have to pass the final exam with a 60% or a D. So again, to complete the course, you're going to finish the final exam. You have to have a 60% or higher, which is a D. And then overall, your grade, after everything's said and done with the final exam, you have to have a 60% overall as well. So there are a total of 8 units. I apologize about the typo there. There are a total of 8 units in this class. We're going to go into the class itself and look at it from a student's point of view here shortly. But basically, Unit 1 starts with Unit 1. We're going to look at some of the founding documents of our nation and Reconstruction. So basically everything starting from the founding of our nation to the end of slavery and the reconstruction of the United States after the Civil War. And that covers the period 1776 to 1880. It's a pretty big time period. Unit 2, we're going to discuss industry, immigration, urbanization in America. Late 1800s, early 1900s, and then we're going to go into the early 1900s in Unit 3. We're going to look at causes and effects of World War I. That's going to be followed in Unit 4 by women's right to vote and political reform in the early 20th century. So in the early 1900s, we're going to move on to the Great Depression and global conflict from 1920 to 1945 in Unit 5. Unit 6 will cover political reform and the New Deal, and we'll take a look at some of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's policy and how they helped the United States get out of the Great Depression. Unit 7 covers World War II, and Unit 8 will cover the post-war boom as a result of the United States entering World War II. So the class starts with a course introduction. Please do not skip this section. It may be different for every class. That's why you need to read through the course introduction for every class that you go into. I know it might look like it's the same information. It might be the same format, but the information is actually going to be different because every class is unique. This course introduction section, it includes information on how to complete your assignments, and it's very important. So let's take a look at that right now. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go over to the class. And I'm going to click here on U.S. History Semester 1. And we're going to take a look at the course introduction. Hi, Lillian. Thank you for joining. Feel free to ask questions as we move along. Right now, we're just going through the course introduction and why every student should be looking at the course introduction. So we just started a few minutes ago. And if you do need to ask any questions, feel free to do that through chat. There's a chat option in Zoom, and you can also unmute yourself and ask questions through the audio. All right, so the course introduction. The reason I ask students never to skip this section, whether it's for US history or any other classes, because there is very important information in the course introduction. And again, it's going to be different for every class. It might look the same, but again, different for every class. And you're going to listen to the audio, so all you would need to do is click here on playing the audio. And then you're going to move on to page 2. It tells you what is going to happen in this course, what you're going to be covered, what's going to be covered. And also other important course notes about how to hover over certain material so that you can read definitions, images, clicking on the keyhole icon, basically just what to look for. So that's the first part of the course introduction. And then we're going to look at the course success strategies. Again, this is all in the course introduction. And this tells you how to submit graded activities, how to post and participate in class discussions. A lot of students who are new to posting discussions struggle with this. And so this takes you through how to do that. And then how to understand rubrics. Another issue that students also have is how to submit graded activities, just because there's different types of them. So let's take a look on page 2. You can also click next. This section, I'm not going to go over every individual section because you're going to be able to do that on your own, but again, this is just an overview. This section shows you how to complete a quiz. So the quizzes are often, if not only, multiple choice. And there is a video that goes along how to go ahead and submit a quiz. And then if you scroll down, there's the text version of this. It's very important that when you do these quizzes, and you'll know when you come to them because they're auto-graded, meaning that you're going to get instant feedback once it's completed. But in order to do that, you have to click the next button and then click on check answers, and it says review your answers, and then click finish at the bottom of the page. So please make sure you've answered all the questions. You're at the bottom, you're pressing next, and then once you're all done, you click check answers to review your answers, and then you finish, and that will actually record your answer. So please make sure that you're going through this process. And if you feel like you're a little confused when it comes time, you can always refer back to this section of the class. And this talks about posting and participating in a discussion, and this shows you how to comment to a discussion correctly, how to post a new thread, in other words, how to post the actual discussion itself, and then how to respond to another student, because in the discussion posts, you are expected to respond to a question, and you're also expected to respond to a student. And this is essentially, we have these discussion posts so that you're part of an active learning community. You are expressing your ideas as well as learning from others' ideas. So keep that in mind. Okay, this continues to talk about the discussion, so you'll just read through that. This will show you exactly how to, sorry, let me stop playing that. This is a video. If those of you who prefer video as opposed to reading, you can watch this instead about discussion posts. This is how to understand a rubric. So in the writing assignments, and even in the final exam, you will see a rubric. And a rubric is essentially a guide that tells you what score you're going to receive, or what you need to do to receive a certain score. So if you look through here, it tells you that in order to receive an A or exceed the expectations, you need to fulfill these requirements. In order to get a C, you need to fulfill these requirements here. And in order, if you get an F, you'll know why, and that's because of this column right here. So please make sure that you pay attention to those rubrics in case you ever wonder, why did I get a score on a certain assignment? Or what do I need to complete in order to get a certain score? Here's a video for the rubric. Okay, as you click through, you'll notice the next button down here in the bottom right. That's how you click through each unit, the course introduction, in order to get to the next reading or activity. This is the syllabus. The syllabus tells you, it gives you a description of the class. I know I gave you a description earlier, but this is the full detailed description. So if you're really curious about exactly everything that's going to be covered, the syllabus is great for you, and it gives you a course outline, the lesson and, sorry, the unit, and then each lesson and activity within the unit. Required materials, if there are any, evaluation methods, and requirements in your progress timeline. So please make sure that you read through the syllabus. Each class, again, is going to be different. Terms of use, this is going to be required for every single class. It's basically just saying that you're going to abide by the terms academic honesty, and then it's also going to ask you to create a goal for the course. So you would just click on next, you'd read through that, and then you are going to submit the academic honesty agreement and course contract. So that is it for the course introduction. And then once you click next and you are done with the course introduction, you're going to start with the class, which is Unit 1 Introduction. There is going to be, in every class, you're going to have feedback that a teacher has given you on assignments, but most importantly on the course contract. It's really important that you read the feedback from your teacher because they're going to introduce themselves, they're going to introduce the course, so make sure that you do read that. And it's always a good idea to check for feedback on graded work anyway, so make sure that you are doing that. If you're curious, you know, why I got a certain grade, feedback is great for that. You'll know why you got a certain grade. Or if you're like, I did a really good job on this, I want to see what my teacher said, then you can also read the course feedback. And in order to do that, let's take a look on how to do that. I'm going to go back to the main dashboard for this class, and you'll see next to an assignment that there is feedback. And the way you see that is that there is a chat bubble right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the course contract. In order to read my feedback, I have to click on it. And then you'll see up here, there's feedback. You're going to click on this I for information, and you're going to scroll down and read the feedback section. So this is me introducing myself to the student and what the class is about, and it has all my contact information. So please make sure that you refer to that feedback in the course contract. In this class, there are a total of 29 assignments plus a final exam. So again, 29 assignments, and they are it's a mix and match of assignments, which we'll take a look at later. Everything from quizzes that have multiple choice and are instantly graded for feedback to short essays. There's one assignment that involves a little bit of research, not too terrible, and of course, final exam and discussion posts. So we'll look at that on the second half of this review. Retaking assignments. So I recommend that if you ever score below a 60%, you retake something. And the reason why is because at some point, those low scoring assignments are going to add up and you might drop below a 60%. If you remember, you have to keep, you have to have a 60% to take the final exam, and you have to have a 60% overall in order to pass the class. So if you keep accumulating low scores, you're going to drop below a 60. So make sure that you redo anything below that grade. Before retaking any assignment or any activity or quiz, see what you missed. Go back, find the correct answers in the class, and if you can't find the answer, contact your teacher for help and check for feedback and tips from your teacher at all times. So you can always go back and see what you missed. The auto-graded quizzes, they give you feedback right away, so that's a great thing about those, but like for essays and anything else, like discussion posts, please make sure you go back, you see what you missed, and you find the correct answers. Contact your teacher for help if you can't find the answer. So how do you contact your teacher for help? Let's take a look. So let's go back to the dashboard here. And let's say you're in this dashboard, you're in your class. All you have to do is hover here over contact details. To send me an email, you can just click here and send me an email, or you can click here and send me a chat message. A chat box will appear and you can send me a chat, contact me that way. So that's a nice thing, is that you can contact your teachers directly from your course. And even if, let's say, you're on your main dashboard, you're not even in your class yet and you have a question, you can do that as well. You can contact you should be able to, yes, you can contact your teacher from here. So US History Semester 1, my teacher is Edna Gonzalez, and I would just click on that and send an email or a chat. And if you see here, the chat popped up on the right-hand screen. You could just type something in. I'm just typing in nonsense. And you can click send message here, this arrow, and that'll send the message. So that is how you contact your teacher. So if you need help on an assignment and you're not sure what to do, what I recommend is always read the instructions several times. This is a great study skill to have, and many students aren't aware that if they read something several times, at some point it might click. You know, if you ever, I don't know if you've ever like put together furniture or you've read a manual, you don't just read it once and then try to attempt to put furniture together. You read it over several times. And the same thing is true for your assignments. Please read them over several times. Go back and review the lesson. Then, if you still don't understand, contact your teacher for help through chat or email, how I just showed you. You can also schedule a meeting with your teacher. So teachers are more than happy. We can help out this way through a study session, which we can share screens, or we can call and talk on the phone. We can chat, text. We are very flexible. So feel free to schedule a meeting with your teacher. After hours. So let's say you are online, it's 1 in the morning because you worked until 10 p.m. at night, and obviously your teacher's not online on the weekends or really online after 5 p.m., like outside of school hours. Well, send your teacher a chat message anyway and say, hey, I know you're not online, but when you're back online, can you help me out with this? Tell them what assignment you're working on, what question, and what the problem may be. There is also another option, however. It's called Tutor.com, and they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's a free service you can access from your class, and let's take a look at it. You're just going to go over here, and on Need Help, this will pull up a list of all your teachers, your academic coach, your local advocate, if you have a local advocate, and tech support as well. So all you got to do here is go to tutor.com, click on that, and that'll pop you up, or it'll pop up and it'll connect you to an online tutor. Now, they are not familiar with our curriculum. This is an independent service, so they might ask you to cut and paste things or explain what you're working on. And keep in mind that, again, they do not have access to our curriculum, so they're just trying to help you based on the information that you give them. So that is a nice option if it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and we are definitely not online and something is due like the next day. So that is a great resource. Okay, so let's take some questions. What questions do you have so far? So for example, the number of assignments, how do you check for feedback, etc. And do you have any other questions? Now is the time to ask. So you can ask questions about other things, like how do I get a hold of my science teacher? Who do I contact about future classes? So we'll take a minute and see if anybody has any questions. Again, you can either unmute yourself and you can ask a question through audio, or you can send it through the chat option. If you're not sure how to access those, and this is your first time using Zoom, using this webinar platform, you might have to click escape in order to access all the buttons that are available, or minimize your screen. Sometimes that helps. So if you have any questions, now's the time. I'll take like a, like 30 seconds to a minute here and wait to see if anybody has questions, and then we will move on. Okay, if we do not have any other questions, we're going to go ahead and move on. Again, feel free to jump in whenever the timing is right. Ask a question. There'll also be some more time at the end of the class for questions. So if you have something that you want to ask, you can hold on to that, write it down, and then remember towards the end, or jump in when the time is right. All right, let's preview some of the assignments that you're gonna have in this class. So you're going to have quite a bit of assignments that are multiple choice activities. Again, these are the ones that earlier I was talking about. They're automatically graded. You get instant feedback. You can see what you missed. You can redo them multiple times. And they're the ones that you could get caught up on if you don't click on review answers and finish. So you have to click both those options. Refer to the course introduction section if you're not sure what I'm talking about, because it is a little tricky. In order to record your score, you have to finish all the questions and you have to click on check answers and finish. So that will record your score. So let's look at an example with activity 1.1.1. It's the very first one you're going to submit. It's called the Declaration of Independence. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into U.S. History Semester 1. And I'm going to click on the Declaration of Independence. So this is assuming that you have read, let's go back. So this is assuming that you have read the Unit 1 introduction as well as Lesson 1.1, the Declaration of Independence. So these activities will be at the end of a reading. So make sure that you do that, and then let's make pretend we're done reading it and we're ready to take the activity. So it looks like I had started this before. I'm going to go ahead and click on resume. So who wrote the Declaration of Independence? I'm just going to go ahead and click on everything here. Oh, I know that one, but I'm just going to click through on the first answers, and then always click next and next. I'm going to answer and then next. And if you look here, it tells me how many I've answered out of 5. So this will be my 5th out of 5th. I'm going to click on next. You're going to check answers. If you want to review your answers, you can click on previous, but make sure that once you have done that and you've reviewed all the answers, you click on check answers. I know it's a little redundant. And it will show you what you got right, what you got wrong. Yeah, not bad. No, that's pretty bad considering I guessed. And it's going to tell you what you got. Your quiz group, you got 4 out of 10. And this is the little tricky part. Make sure you scroll all the way down and you click on finish. And that is what's going to score or record your score. And you should see this screen right here. It'll say your score has been submitted. If it does not say that, it means that you have not, you've either missed a step or maybe your internet connection went out. You might have to redo it. It depends on what the situation is, but make sure that you see this and you get a score receipt and you can get it emailed to you. And I'll just print it for now. Cancel. Okay. So now I need to go back. Okay, so that is an example of a multiple choice activity. There's also going to be discussion posts. And this one, like I said, if you haven't done a discussion post in a previous class, this will definitely pose an issue for some students because in a discussion post, it's two parts. You usually have to post your discussion, so your answer to the question that everybody else in the class can read. And then you also need to respond to another student. So let's take a look at a discussion post for Unit 2. So I'm going to go to my class. I have read the section. Actually, this is an introductory discussion. Hi and welcome, Erica. Make sure that you send me a chat message with your last name so that I can apply extra credit. And we are just in the second half of this U.S. history overview. We're looking at the different types of assignments that there are. We just got done with multiple choice assignments, and then we're going to look at how to post a discussion. But all of this is being recorded for those of you that are joining us now or joined in a little bit late. All of this is going to be available as a recording in full length, so you can watch it from the beginning. You won't have missed anything, and I'll be sending that out either at the end of today or early next week. If for some reason you don't hear from me about this, then contact me. All right, thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate that. I did get your last name. Okay, so we are looking at one of the examples of assignments in this class, and that's a discussion post. And so in the discussion post, for instance, in this one, the task is to write a 250-word response to the following questions and respond to at least one other student. I want to say right now, 250 is a lot for some students. So if you are covering all of the question thoroughly and you still haven't reached 250, I'm okay with that. What's important to me is that you are covering all of the topics and all of the questions that are asked and that you're responding to them. If you're short of 250, that's okay. So it's asking you, do you live in the city or in the country? Do you like where you live? Why or why not? Would you like to live elsewhere? So it asks you several things to think about. And the purpose, it says, is to start thinking about how your way of life is going to be different than the ways of life that you're going to learn about in this class. So basically, you're going to be compared to the ways Americans were living and how their lifestyles greatly change in the 1800s and the early 1900s, which is what this part of U.S. history covers. U.S. history semester 2 covers a different time period. It covers after World War II on to the present. So right now we're looking to compare your life to those who were living in the 1800s and early 1900s. So it gives you a format to follow. It gives you instructions, and I'm not going to go through all of this. I want you to go ahead and go through all this. I just want to show you how to complete this. So in order to post a discussion and answer these questions, all you're going to do is click on New Thread. And you're going to type in your discussion right here. I'm just going to type a bunch of letters. And you're just going to click on Post. I'll erase that later. And that's it. You have student D has posted their answer. Then you're going to go back and you have to, if you look at the assignment instructions, you have to post a comment for a student. So make sure that you are looking at what type of comment that you have to post to a student. And because this is a positive learning environment, I like to remind students that we all have different ways of learning. We all write differently. We all speak differently. So we need to respect others and use language that's respectful in these discussion posts. We want to build each other up. A lot of us have already struggled, and that's why we are here. So the last thing we want to do is pull each other down. So please make sure that these are well-constructed, thoughtful comments. And in order to comment first to another student, you just scroll down and you will find that there is a student here. So let's say you want to respond to student D. All you do is click on this reply arrow here, and you're going to post your reply. And you're going to click on Post. And that's it. So to create your own post and answer the questions, you click New Thread, and then to reply to a student, you find a student who has commented, and then you just click on the reply arrow here. Okay, the next one is a short essay response. So you're going to see a couple of short essay responses in this class, and we're going to take a look at activity 4.2.2 impact summarization. So again, there are no big long essays in this class. There's no research papers, which is really nice. But there are some short essay responses. And the good thing is we're going to take a look here, is that it's mainly outlined for you. It tells you how to write the response, like what to write in each sentence or how to organize it. So that is the beauty of this class, is it does help you out for organization purposes. So let's look at 4.2.2, another type of assignment. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here. So we're going to assume that you have read all of the activities leading, all of the lessons leading up to 4.2.2 impact summarization. We're going to click on that. And it says in this activity, you'll be asked to answer both of the following questions. So you know that you have two questions and you have to answer in 2 paragraphs. So you'll be expected to state your opinion and provide supporting evidence. So I'm going to just go ahead and have you read through this. I just want to show you the type of assignment that you can expect. And if you look at the question, it tells you, what to have in your sentences. In sentence 1, what was the most important invention? Sentence 2, sentence 3, sentence 4. And then you're going to have 2 questions here. There's a rubric. If you remember earlier, we talked about what the rubric is. It tells you what grade you're going to get depending on the information you have provided, or what grade you can get if you are looking for an A, C, or an F. So this is it. It's just 2 paragraphs. All you're going to do is click on here. Mine says retake because I have taken it before, but yours will probably say start assignment or next. And then you're just going to type your essay into the box here, and you are going to hit submit. And do you want to submit now? Yes. Okay, so you've submitted your 2-paragraph essay. So that is an example of a 2-paragraph essay. And there is, I believe, 1 or 2 more of these throughout the course. The most difficult assignment you'll probably have is this one. It's the last assignment, the second to last assignment in the class, and it is about evaluating sources. So this isn't necessarily an essay about a topic. It's about how to look at a source and see if it's credible, or even something that you should bother using to back up information in an essay. So this one is called A Great Time to Live, and it has to do with the 1950s America. So let's take a look at 8.3.2, evaluating sources, so that you know what to expect. So we're going to assume that we read through the lesson. And then click on next. And this will take you to the assignment. So in the assignment, you're going to see instructions. It's going to ask you to watch a video that talks about how to evaluate sources, and then what you should be looking for as you watch the video. And then it says what to expect, what you should be able to do when you finish the video. And then it actually has the assignment down here where you're going to determine, you're going to find 2 sources, and you're going to answer the following questions for each one. So source 1, source 2, and it tells you what you need to include in each source. So you need to answer a total of 4 questions for each source. So basically, again, it's going to be asking you to look at some source materials and to evaluate it based on what you have learned from the video, what makes a good source and what makes a bad source. In other words, how can you believe a source, and when is it time to be like, this source might be a little biased or it might have some false information. Once you are ready to start the assignment, you're just going to click on Show Dropbox and you're going to put your assignment here. So you can, if you want to, you can type it in the comments section, but I highly recommend that you attach a file, just because you can write a lot more in a Word document than you can in the, well, you can write a lot in the comments box, but it's just harder to format it. So you can, again, the comments box is supposed to be for comments only, but I don't mind it if it's a shorter assignment. Like if it's a full-length essay, I will not accept it. Most teachers won't accept essays in the comments box, but because this is a shorter assignment, that is fine. So you can either do it that way or submit it through a Word document that you created. And then you're just going to submit. And it says you have successfully submitted this assignment. So a little bit different of an assignment, doesn't necessarily talk about, review the content that you went over, but it does review something that's coming up, which is source material assignment, a source material essay, which will be the following, it's a 2-paragraph essay as well. Okay, the last thing we're gonna preview is the final exam. I do not have a final exam video review for this class yet. I have it for several of my other classes, but that is probably going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So keep an ear and an eye out for that study session. I do like to go over the final exam because there are multiple choice and short essay questions, and I like to prepare students for those short essay questions. So on this final in US history, there's a total of 34 questions, which are a variety of multiple choice, such as A, B, C, D, true, false, as well as short essay responses. The short essay responses, they are not very, I mean, they're not, 3 or 4 paragraphs. They're going to be 2 at the very most, and they're going to always be about the material you have learned about. It's not going to be any surprises. You're not going to be asked to evaluate anything based on a new idea. It's all things that you have already learned. And keep this in mind that you can have 1 full page of notes, not just on this final exam, but on all final exams. You can always use 1 full page of notes. The final exam must be taken within 1 sitting with a proctor. So a proctor is somebody who has been designated to pretty much watch over final exams, make sure that students are able to access their exam, there's no glitches, also to make sure cheating does not occur. So you have to take it in 1 sitting with a proctor. If you know that you do not have to have a proctor, that's a different story. If you're not sure about whether you have to have a proctor, then you need to contact your academic coach. They are the ones that can tell you if the program that you're in requires a proctor or not. So again, the final exam, you have to pass it with a 60% or higher. So the final exam can be taken 2 times maximum in order to pass. If for some reason you still don't pass on the 2nd time, then you are going to be assigned an alternative final exam from your teacher. So teachers will assign the alternative final exam based on what they feel like you need to cover and what is going to help you master some of the questions that you missed. So each final exam, each alternative final exam is going to be different. It could be an essay, it could be a PowerPoint, it could be to create a test with answers. It just depends on your teacher. They will contact you. They will leave feedback on your final exam if you failed it the 2nd time. I personally like to send out emails and I send chat messages so that you can receive that notification in several ways. Like I said, the final exam review video is coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. So let's look at the final exam review because it is located at the end of the course and it tells you what to study for. So you'll see it on its own. It's considered week 5 because you are expected to take your final exam soon after you finish week 4. And it's called the Final Exam Study Guide. Make sure that you are reviewing that for every class because that is going to tell you what you need to take notes on. Remember, 1 full page of notes. You can have 1 full page of notes on all final exams. So this final exam study guide asks you to be able to respond to questions on the following topics. So there are a variety of topics. I understand that's a lot of topics. But just read over, again, on the Declaration of Independence, Sons of Liberty, and Enlightenment thinkers. So go over this list and review it. Another great thing to do is just to review your assignments. If you think like this is maybe too long for you, maybe you just need to review your assignments, the quizzes that you took, as well as the essays and discussion posts. So that is the final exam study guide. It does not have questions directly, but like I said, I will be having a video at some point with examples of questions that are on the actual final exam. Once you're ready, start your final exam. You will just go back here. You will click on your final exam. Oh, I can't do it because I have not finished all my assignments. So if for some reason you go to click on the final exam and it won't let you, it's either because you have some missing work, or maybe your class has expired. If you have all your work in and you are passing with 60% or higher and you still can't access your final exam, contact your academic coach. Again, it could be because your class has expired, or maybe there's something that's blocking you from taking the final. So if that's not the case, then you need to go back and you either need to bring up your overall grade to 60% or higher, or you need to look and see which assignments you are missing. If there is no grade, it means that there is an issue, so you will need to go back and redo that. All right, so we have come to the end of the review for this class. And again, we're gonna do some time for questions. What questions do you have about any of these activities? For example, what happens if I fail an activity? What other questions do you have about the class itself? And what other types of study sessions would you like to see for this class or for other social studies classes in the future? So I will go ahead and take questions. You can either unmute yourself, unmute your microphone and ask questions that way, or you can type your question into the text box, into the chat box. Okay, if you don't have any questions so far, thank you for attending. Contact me here from your class if you need more help or if you would like a copy of these slides. Again, I will have the video link, but if you want a copy of the slides as well, please feel free to contact me. If you haven't done so already, send me a private chat with your first and last name, so that the one that you are registered under, so that I know you attended and so that you can get extra credit. You're going to see an extra 25% added to an assignment by the end of today. And you will usually see that I like to post it on 100% assignment, so that brings you up to 125, so that you know, okay, I got the extra credit. If I just assign it to a low scoring grade and it brings you up to like a 70 and then you go redo it later, then you lose that extra credit. So you'll see it on 100% assignments. And then last but not least, my contact information. My name is Mrs. Gonzalez. This is if you are in my class. If you're watching this either recorded video or you're here, you're going to contact your teacher in a different way. If you're not sure how to contact your teacher, go ahead and ask me now and I can help you out. But for me directly, here's information, my phone number. I can receive text messages through that number. There's my email address. Please make sure that you are typing it in correctly. The best thing to do is actually just send me an email from your class, because then you can just click on that email icon and you don't have to worry about typing in my name. And then my office hours. I am here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. And I know that can be a big problem for a lot of people who work outside of, or who work on school outside of those hours. And that's fine, because you can always contact me or your actual teacher to set up a time outside of those hours. I am very flexible. I definitely know we all have different schedules, different agendas. So please make sure that you are contacting your teachers for additional hours. Thank you very much, Lillian. Appreciate it. Okay, so if we don't have any further questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting. Again, contact me or contact your teacher for additional information. Today is Fridays, and today is actually the start of the Labor Day weekend. So everybody, I know that a lot of you have classes due. Work hard, please get those done and get ahead, and that way maybe you can enjoy at least Monday off. All right, so thank you again for attending, and we'll hope to see you soon on some Friday afternoon for an additional study session in the social studies topic. Thank you, bye-bye.